Redditors who have been in actual physical fights with other people, what started it? My friend allegedly spent too much time looking at another dude's girlfriend at a party, and somehow the correct response to this was to sucker punch me in the face. Maybe they thought you were an easier target than your friend. I had the opposite happen. I'm 6'4" in college, I was probably 240. Pretty fucking stacked. We were at a party, and this dude was dressed as a cowboy. It was Halloween party, and he kept calling my Asian friend Jackie Chan. My buddy was like, okay dude, let's step outside. So me and my buddy and him and his two buddies, we all step outside. The dude goes, I'm sorry man, to me. Shake my hand. I was like, dude, I don't want to shake your hand, just walk away from me. And he was like, dude, shake my hand. And I was like, I'm not going to. He swings on me and I duck into it. So he just clipped me right across my skull. Now I'm a big guy, I'm athletic, but I don't know how to fight. I just start swinging for the fences. I catch his buddy and fuck him up. Just absolutely busted his lip open. Then I take Cowboy to the ground. Probably cracked him a little bit when I slammed him down. It got broken up pretty fast. Shortly thereafter, Cowboy's buddy, who I absolutely decked, comes up to me and he's like, hey, I don't feel like I got a good shot. And I was like, if you take a swing at me, you're gonna go to the hospital tonight. I don't quite remember what the response is, something like, fuck you, man, and they walked off. Similar situation. Wasn't going to post in this thread because there wasn't an actual fight. In a bar in Dallas, I was chatting with a cute Latina at the bar who was ordering a pitcher. Next thing I know was a pain in the back of my head, seeing stars, then darkness. Woke up with a towel around my head soaked in blood. That little Latina's lesbian bull girlfriend had smashed a glass pitcher into the back of my head and opened up a relatively minor but heavily bleeding head wound. I was evidently hitting on her girlfriend, and she was none too happy about it. 8 stitches, and a headache later, I was hating life for a week. Edit. Well, first edit lost. Aggravated assault, assault on a LEO resisting. I lived in Austin at the time and had no contact with Dallas DA. Case was pleaded. Jail time and probation, fine. By the time I was contacted and asked to provide a victim impact statement, I had almost forgotten about the incident. Drunk guy didn't like my face. Completely understandable, but no need to punch me about it. In high school, a girl was leaning in the ask me a question at lunch. At that exact moment, there was a fly near my face. Reached up to swat it away and accidentally hit the girl in the eye with my finger. Her boyfriend jumped up and raced over, screaming about me hitting his girl. I did not have much chance to put up a fight before he hit me, and I woke up a little bit later. I recall hearing her tell the guy that it was an accident, and my parents pressed charges. No idea what happened to that guy, except that he dropped out later that year. On my HSGF 17th B-Day, we went to Dave and Buster's or someplace like that. We were playing against each other in the side-by-side basketball machines. Like, right when she won, one of my basketballs took a weird hop off the rim, bounced off the cage, and hit me in the face. I went to backhand the ball out of there and I hit her right in the nose. She bled for like an hour. That was in 2009 and I still lose sleep over it to this day. I feel so fucking awful about it. The worst part about it was that we were with her best friend and her BF, who was one of my best friends, and I suspected at the time they might have thought I did it on purpose. The place was like an hour and a half from where we lived, so the whole day was ruined and the drive back sucked. She was trying to be understanding, but as you can imagine, she was pretty bummed out, because it took the air out of a really great day I put together. Edit. I kinda hate this has so many upvotes. I'm still harboring a lot of guilt for this edit too. Thank you everybody for being so nice. In school, we were around the age of 11, I guess. A guy from another class, same year, have been bullying me for months for basically existing. Examples being that he felt I looked more like an Alan. Just to be clear, that's not my name. He also bullied me for sailing and boxing in my free time. He defiantly had the attitude of someone, believing to be better than his peers. Anyway, one day at recess, we played football or soccer if you prefer, and he was way better than me. But I had maybe 10 kilograms more to move with than him. Not much, I know. So I was able to take the ball from him and he flipped, pushing and kicking me. And something just clicked and I headbutted him. He dazed to the ground. He never did anything again. My teacher knew the history and just let it go, since she knew that it was his own fault. So, long story, the only fight I have been in was when I was 15 and the other person was 30. So, my uncle at the time was like 50 and married a 30-year-old. Well, one weekend, they stayed at our house. The first night, it started going downhill. She told my sister and I we were being too loud, and it was past our bedtime. It was 9:30 and we were teenagers in our own house. We didn't have a bedtime. The next day, I caught her and her stepdaughter, who was like 20 to 25, talking shit about my mom. They never really liked my mom that much, which is whatever, but how dare they talk bad about my mom in her house? I was pissed and called them out. They were both red-faced and said I didn't know what I had heard. So I tell my mom, and I'm just so mad in a 15-year-old girl kind of way. She blows it off and tries to calm me down. Day 3. We're having a cookout or whatever with some of my family and parents' friends. We're getting set up and people start showing up. My dad assigns me to making pink lemonade in a 5-gallon drink cooler. I start doing it, and my uncle's wife comes up to me bossing me around or whatever. And my exact words were, "If you think you know everything, then you do it." And I just walked away, leaving all the stuff there. A couple hours pass, and I'm sitting at a table with my friend, my brother, and his wife. I'm holding their 6-month-old baby in my lap. My uncle's wife comes to the table and standing across from me, I think she had been drinking, begins to scream and cuss at me and tell me what a bitch I am and how much she hates me, and if I was her kid, she would beat my ass, etc. Well, she's holding a drink in her hand, and after she's done ranting, I don't even say a word. Just stare at her blankly. I was a 15-year-old girl and knew exactly how to piss people off. Well, she says, "I'm so mad I could just dump this drink right in your face." I shrugged my shoulders and said, "Then do it." And oh my God, she f***ing did it. Well, I sort of blacked out because I didn't even think and barely remembered what happened next. I just remember my brother Bear hugging me with my feet off the ground. Apparently, she dumped that drink right in my face and I threw the baby on my SIL lap, went around that table and beat that bitch's ass. I thought my dad was going to kill me and I cried so hard once I realized what had happened. But my dad was more or less on my side. He doesn't condone fighting, but he realized that she had been treating me like shit the whole time. Usually alcohol. I worked as security at a campus bar when I was younger. A lot of testosterone mixed with alcohol caused a lot of very stupid people to make very poor choices and try to fight the bouncers. Pro tip, if a bar has bouncers, they are used to trouble and there's most likely more than one and they're probably bored. Not a good idea to start trouble with one. And let the bouncers do their role. I was on this double date that wound up at a dive bar. I was sitting at our table and the 2 girls were talking to someone who asked them a question. I didn't hear what they were talking about, but the guy took a huge swig of beer, then spit it on my date. I went into "it's on" mode, but 2 of them shoved me back into my seat and held me there while the girls went to tell the bouncers. I was really fuming that I didn't do anything. But when we left, we noticed the guy stumbling around outside looking like he got into an altercation with the bouncers and figured justice was served without me needing to do anything. Quick question, who is them? The people who held you down? Was it the bouncers or the jerks who spit on your girl? Right, I should have clarified that. That would have been the other girl and guy we were with. The girls were on the opposite side of the table from me, and when I saw the guy spit beer, I slammed my glass on the table, and as I was getting up, the guy and other girl quickly pushed me back as I was standing up. All 3 were yelling at me to stay seated, so I just kinda glared at the guy, and he took off while the girls went to the bouncers. A few minutes later, the girls and the bouncers were hunting for the guy, and when they found him, the bouncers grabbed him and hauled him away. I was just glad they got him out of my sight because 1, spitting on someone is fucking gross, and 2, he spit on someone I was with. We saw him outside when we left and he was looking roughed up. I have been in several, but this was my first. He was one of my bullies and I usually just ignored him, but one day he started talking some absolutely horrible stuff about my grandpa, about how he was supposed to die in an accident and that he is happy my grandpa wasn't able to speak or leave the bed. and later tried to destroy my school bag and books. I grabbed him by his arms and just threw him to the ground and held him there. I wasn't punching him or anything, but his friends were mocking him so hard about the fact that a girl beat him. He actually stopped bothering me after that, so win-win. Thank you for watching. Write comments, put likes. Do not forget to watch other videos.